What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Better Together group tonight. We are on a journey to rediscover the art of neighboring. And it has been a great series so far, and we're excited about where we're going with this. We're excited even more about the change that we're going to see happen in our own neighborhoods, on our blocks, on our streets. It's going to be a great time. Now, today, we got practical, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. Let's set this thing up for a second, all right? You see, Jesus blew up the definition of who a neighbor is, okay? We looked at today the story where this young scholar comes to Jesus and he asks, what's the most important commandment? Jesus asked him, what do you think it is? And he correctly answered, to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. Now, here's what's interesting. You got to understand this. In Jewish culture, their neighbor was any other Jew, okay? It was actually in the law that if they were a fellow Jew, you take care of them. So for them, it was already a very broad definition of who is my neighbor. It could be anybody in their covenant community. Very broad definition. So this guy has got to think he is rocking it because he already loves all his fellow Jews. So he's looking for either a way out or a pat on the back. Jesus gives them neither. He tells the story of the Good Samaritan. You guys know Samaritans and Jews did not get along. Jesus blows open the definition of who your neighbor is. It could be somebody that's not at all like you, that you don't even like. Jesus blew up the definition of love too. When Jesus said, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. When he said, love those who are far off, blew open the definition of love. Now, you see, as Christians, we look at these stories, we look at what Jesus said, and we aspire to do what he said, to love our enemies, to pray for those who persecute us, to love those who are far off and take care of their needs. And we've done a relatively good job of that. But here's the problem. While we were busy trying to love those who are far off and love our enemies, we've forgotten about the people right next to us, our actual physical neighbors. I want you to think about that big love that Jesus talked about, loving your enemies and all that, as a graduate level love. And I want you to think about loving your physical neighbors as an elementary level. A lot of us need to go back to elementary school. I'm going to propose something to you. It's impossible to learn how to love somebody who is far off, how to love somebody that's your enemy if you can't love those right next to you. If you don't even know those right next to you, how can you love somebody far off? So today we gave everybody a block map. And we challenged everyone to go out, hit the street, start knocking on doors, and get to know your neighbors. 3 stages. Your 8 closest neighbors. All right? Whether they're all in a straight line this way or however it's laid out, doesn't matter. 8 closest neighbors. Know their name. Know something non-observable about them. Like where they work, what their hobbies are, and so forth. And 3, know something deeper about them. What's their goals? What's their greatest loves about life, and so forth. You see, if over the next few weeks we get to know our neighbors, we have an opportunity to love our neighbors. We can't love those who are far off if we can't love our neighbors. But to love your neighbors, you've got to first know them. Let me say that again. If I want to love my neighbor, I've got to know my neighbor. That's where it starts, knowing our neighbors. I want to challenge you guys this week. Go get to know your neighbors. That's going to make a bigger difference than you could ever imagine. So have fun discussing this. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to pause the video in just a moment. And after you're done with the discussion, I want you to hit play again. And we're going to talk about our Reach Day activity. And I have some notes for you on that. So go ahead and pause that, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, hope you had an awesome time in discussing these questions, and I hope you're inspired and ready to get to know your neighbors. Now, let's talk about Reach Day. Every Better Together cycle, we do a big Reach Day where we all come together to make a difference in our community. This year, we're switching it up just a little bit. Rather than doing one big event, every small group is going to do an event. And as you've probably already heard, we're going to do some block parties. So we're challenging and asking all of our Better Together groups to host a block party the weekend of Halloween. You see, Halloween is the opportune time, not because that we're into Satan worship or anything like that, but people are out on the streets already. Kids are trick-or-treating. People are used to being out right there at that time. So we have an opportune time to make a difference. So we're challenging, again, everybody to host a block party or a neighborhood party, however you want to call it. This week, your group leader was given a manual and an info sheet about how to do it. It covers all the bases and the details. Every week from this point on that you're in this group, you're going to take a few minutes and you're going to plan and organize this event. It's going to be an awesome time to get to know the people that's in the neighborhood you're in right now. Your point today is to choose your date and time and location. So you're going to spend a few minutes talking about date and time and location. You have 3 options for dates and times. We have Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. Monday night being Halloween. That's the best time, but it's also the most difficult to pull off with it being during the week. So choose between one of those 3, and then look at where. Now keep some things in mind as you're looking at where. You want to look at the size of your group. So realistically, how big an event can you put on? If you've got almost 20 people in your group, you can probably put on a party for the entire neighborhood. Okay? If you've got 4 or 5 people in your group, you can probably put on a party for your block or your street. Okay? So look at the context of your group, and then look for the good location. If it's going to be a smaller one, maybe you plan for your block or street. The house that you're in may be a good spot. Remember, we'll have bounce houses and other stuff that we'll help you out with. Bounce houses are awesome. Make sure it's a place where you'll be able to plug those in and go. You might have a community center or a common area. There may be a field across the street. But give that some thought and some planning about where you can be most effective. Guys, it's going to be an awesome, awesome time, and we really believe we're going to see people brought to life because you guys are willing to step outside your comfort zone and get to know some neighbors. Have an awesome week. We'll see you next time.